Hey Alex, Jessica here from Peterson SEO. Thank you so much for speaking with me today and accepting this free video. I'm super excited that you did because right now you only got about 35 people finding your website organically per month. And that means you're missing out on more than 60 to 70% of people searching in your service area for your services. So today I'm going to show you 3 strategies you can start applying right away, and it's going to make a huge difference in your business. And I know that it will because we've been applying these same strategies with over 50 other restoration companies just like you guys, and it's made a huge impact in their business. Okay, so today we're going to talk about your content keyword strategy, your citations, and backlinks. So we are here on your website. It's not often I get to say you have a pretty website, especially in restoration. You do have a pretty website. It does look nice. But Google unfortunately does not rank websites based on appearance. It is based on the content of your website. When it comes to ranking, content is key, and you do need a lot of content. That's in your images, written words, videos. Content is everything. So you do need separate pages for each of your major services, which it looks like you have. Hopefully each of these pages have their own original content. They're focused on their own local keywords. I am happy to see that you have a click-to-call phone up here. And some click buttons here. Mobile first is number 1 in Google's eyes right now. So we need to make sure that the best version is for mobile so they can easily get a hold of you, click, and call you. Now when it comes to content, we need to be focused on local buyer intent keywords for these services. So those are the keywords people are actively searching for your services. Or questions that they're asking about your services. Okay, so we have to focus on local. So whether your main focus is Westminster, I'm kind of confused whether you do or don't serve Denver. One area says North Denver and another area just says Denver. And so I am a little bit confused about the actual service area. So we want to make sure that Google's not confused. We want to make sure your customers are not confused, okay? So we do have to focus on those local buyer intent keywords. Here shows the different service areas, but these actually need their own service area pages, okay? Your home page and service pages, if you're focusing on Westminster first, which is a good strategy. If you're working Denver, start on the outside where it's easier to rank and get those ranking and then go into Denver. It really depends on your service area and who you want to serve as to your strategy. But you want to focus on the good quality content that's do follow. Google is really hyper-focused on the type of content. We don't want generic content like this is water damage, this is what happens. Okay, it needs to be useful, helpful, answering your customers' most common questions, really humanized content. The way people ask questions when they use generative devices or things like ChatGPT, okay? And so we have to be able to answer those questions to be able to show up in generative searches. And so Google is really focused on something called EEAT. That is your experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. So this is your content being built around your experience, the work that you've done, showcasing your befores and afters, having really good bios and trust factors. All of those are really critical in building out your content and keyword strategy, building that trust. And Google is going to help promote you guys even higher. Google is sending something called crawlers to your website, and it scans all of your pages, every image, every video, making sure they understand what your business is about. what type of services are you offering, and where do you offer those services. And so when we don't have that content keyword strategy dialed in, it's really hard for Google to bring people to your website, okay? Now, if we look at your top competitor for Westminster, we do have SERVPRO. And yes, they're a franchise, but they're also extremely beatable, okay? You're not competing against an entire franchise, just the local franchisees. And these guys are at a disadvantage, actually, because they're not allowed to modify their content and build out a content strategy that would actually be beneficial to them. So you have an advantage, you just have to do better. That means better quality content, more content on the page. Your homepage needs at least 1,500 words or more. So when your competitors have 1,500 words, you want 2,000 words, okay? So you're just doing better, having more pages, better quality content, more content on the page, more blogs, etc. All of those are going to give you a good boost to help you to be able to not only compete with these guys, but to be able to outrank them. Now we know when people do a search in Google, they'll do a search similar to this. And when we do, there's three main areas on the first page of Google your website has the opportunity to have good position in. The first are generally going to be ads. These are cost per click ads and local service ads like these, which can be extremely beneficial if they're done correctly. You have your processes dialed in, you have proper landing pages built, and you're not just sending your ad people over to your main website because they're going to get lost. You're not going to get the right conversions. It can be a money pit if you don't have it set up correctly, okay? So if that's the case, you definitely want to dial these other things in first and then run your ads. Now, this second area here, this is your Google Map Pack, your Google My Business profile. This is a really important section because 30% of people come straight to the maps and they do not go anywhere else. And Google recently in the last month has stopped showing businesses past 10. Okay, so only the top 10 businesses actually show up here. And so you not only need to be in the top 10, but you also want to be in the top 3 because they're going to get a bulk of those calls. So when you're not showing up here, you're leaving money on the table and quite literally handing your customers to your competitors. So in order for your profile to show up here, you do have to optimize that profile. You do have to go and get something called Citations. And that is simply listing the name of your business, address, phone number, and website, and putting those in a bunch of directories like Yellow Pages, Glassdoor, Better Business Bureau, Angie's Home Advisor, okay? And just doing more of those than your competitors is going to give you a huge jump, okay? And this third section here is the most important section because this is the organic section. This is where 60 to 70% of people come. They skip the ads and the maps. They come right here to go to your website. So when your website does not show up for your keyword searches in each of your service areas, you're leaving 60 to 70% of those searches on the table. Okay, so in order for your website to show up here, it all comes back to the foundation of this website. But it's also important to understand that the higher your website shows up in organic section, the more the percentage of traffic you're going to get. With the highest up here can capture 33 to 40% of the traffic for that specific search. Okay, so we don't just want to get on the first page. We also want to keep working it to get towards the top so you capture more of that traffic. Okay, now this is a program called Ahrefs that tells us how your website is performing. We can see here your website has a rating of a 0 out of 100 in Google's trust flow, meaning Google does not trust your website. Yes, it does have to do with the quality of the content on your website, but also more importantly is the power you're sending to your website. Your website is a tool, and like most tools, they require power. So we power websites with backlinks. And backlinks are simply just getting a link from another business website to your website. Okay, so we need a lot of those, but this is a popularity contest, and not all links are good links. Okay, you could try and get a link from Burger King, which would be a high-ranking site, but because you don't serve food, it'll actually do more harm than good. So we want to be going after good quality links that are closely related to the services you're offering. So these types of links would be from other home service vendors, businesses, etc. Okay, and then you will need more of those than your competition has. Now you have actually been indexed 36 keywords, but you're only getting 35 people organically to your website, meaning they're searching for your services, not actually typing in your website address. Okay, if we look at your keywords, you do actually have about 4 keywords that are on the first page of Google. You got sewage cleanup Westminster, mold removal Westminster. You got the second page for water damage. So that's good. You are at the bottom of the page. You just need to keep pushing it. You really need to focus on your keyword content strategy and support it with those backlinks to give it the boost, so you're capturing the most of that traffic. But then also remember, you're servicing multiple other service areas, so you need those other service area pages to have their own keywords so you can be coming up in each of the communities that you serve, okay? Because you're missing out on hundreds and thousands of traffic, especially if you're also going after Denver, okay? If we look at your competitor here, their local area only has a rating of a 5. They're not doing any SEO, which makes sense because they can't fix what's wrong. They've only been indexed for 6 keywords for this specific page, yet they're getting almost 3 times as much traffic, okay? And they're doing that because of the power of this website is a 76, where yours is a 0, okay? We don't have to compete. We don't need a 76, but because the 76 is high, it does push power to all of those back pages, which gives them a little bit of an advantage. But by you applying the strategies I've shown you today, you can become more competitive and eventually outrank these guys. Oops. Sorry about that. So hopefully you found this information to be helpful. Please feel free to take this information, run with it, apply it yourself, and start today and start helping more people in your community. But if you'd rather focus on what you guys do best and have a partner in growth, give us a call here at Peterson SEO. This is our specialty. So please feel free to respond to my email, give us some feedback, or give us a call, and we'd be happy to chat. Thank you so much for watching, and I do look forward to hearing from you soon.